Hi, this is your host. This is a special episode about walruses. When most people think of walruses, they picture them lounging on shore, snoozing, molting, or being downright goofy. But did you know that walruses are also world-class travelers? Depending on the season, tens of thousands of them hit the road, following the ice across the Arctic Ocean for hundreds of miles each year. Hi, I'm here. This is a production of a digital studio. Our planet is covered in a vast interconnected web of migratory pathways that crisscross our oceans and weave between our continents. And just like migratory birds fly thousands of miles each year to find new feeding grounds, marine animals such as whales, seals, and yes, even walruses undertake long journeys over the course of their lives. For some species, migration is all about finding new hunting grounds. Each spring, humpback whales travel from their feeding grounds in the Arctic to their breeding and calving grounds in the south. Along the way, they sing, and according to a recent study, it's all to attract a mate. Other animals migrate to find new homes. Every 3 or 4 years, large groups of beluga whales travel hundreds of miles from their home waters off the coast of Alaska to the Bering Sea and back again. Scientists aren't sure exactly why they do this, but one theory is that they're looking for a new home, as their old one gets too crowded. But no Arctic mammal undertakes a migration quite like the walrus. The two species of walrus, the Atlantic walrus and the Pacific walrus, can be found throughout the Arctic, but only during certain times of the year. And that's because they travel with the ice. See, walruses are ice-following migrants. They travel huge distances across the Arctic in search of clams and mussels to eat, and they have to stay on the ice to do it. You see, walruses depend on sea ice to hunt. Unlike ringed seals, which can make breathing holes in the ice to access clams and mussels, walruses are too big to do this. So instead, they wait for the ice to move. As the ice shifts, it grinds up all kinds of yummy, nutritious stuff called phyto and zooplankton, which the walruses then slurp up in giant mouthfuls. Phyto and zooplankton make up the main part of their diet, but they also use their tusks and powerful jaws to crack open clams and mussels. But just like other animals that travel long distances, walruses need a lot of energy to get from point A to point B, and lucky for them, their favorite food is also a superfood. Clams and mussels are packed with protein and fat, which gives walruses the energy they need to keep swimming. Every year in the spring, when the ice starts to melt, the walruses head north following the retreating ice edge. Here they feed voraciously, gaining weight and blubber for the journey ahead. By late July and early August, though, the ice starts to reform and the walruses must move again, this time to the south, following the newly formed ice edge. Some individuals travel more than 500 miles each year to find new feeding grounds. That's like walking from San Diego to San Francisco and back again every year. And just like any long-distance journey, the migration takes a lot of time. Walruses spend almost half of every year traveling to and from their feeding grounds. It's a tiring journey, but luckily for the walruses, they don't have far to go. See, the Earth is actually round. So unlike species like the Arctic tern, which travels more than 40,000 miles each year between its feeding and breeding grounds, the walrus migration is a relatively short one. In fact, it would take an incredible amount of dedication and drive to cover the same distance as a walrus does in a single year. You'd have to walk more than 12 miles every day for an entire year to match a walrus's annual haul. So next time you hear someone say that they're going on a long journey, just ask them if they are going to travel as far as a walrus does every year, because I guarantee they'll say no, unless of course they're a walrus. Thanks for watching. This episode was brought to you by a digital studio and a nature.